As you've seen in previous active tips, we can restrict the movement of objects to horizontal, vertical, or along a specific path. You can also restrict an object to rotate. It can rotate on itself, around other objects, or even a specific point on the page. In the next few pages, I'm going to show you some examples that show this technique, and then we'll go ahead and create one together. Now on this page, we have the two hands of the clock that were given the property to rotate clockwise. So it won't go backwards, it'll only go forwards, like a normal clock would. But we also went ahead and set it to rotate around another object, which I have set to this little dot right here. So instead of rotating in the middle of this line, it's going to rotate like a normal clock would. So you can see we're in the rotate box, it would say clockwise, and rotate around another object and the center of the clock. And these two hands are separate, so they move separately. It was also given the property of can move equals no. So even though it's set to not move, it's still going to rotate, which can be a little bit confusing. So even if you set an object to say don't move, it still will give the ability to rotate. Just keep that in mind. This page is a cool setup. We have the site, all rocks will sink in water. False, or I could flip it to say true. But isn't that cool? Having a line of text and then another line of text I can flip around here. The way I did this was I had two pieces of text, true and false, with a line, and I grouped them together. And then what I did was I set under rotate, it can rotate freely, so I can go counterclockwise or clockwise, and it's going to rotate around the center of itself, which means it's going to rotate right here in the center. And then finally where it says can move, I have that set to no. And the reason for that is if I had it set to yes, I could actually grab it and move it all over the page. But I don't want it to move, I just want it to rotate. Very cool. So now let's look to create one on our own. What we have here is a star that we created and a red dot right here. So I'm going to click on the star and we're going to go over to our properties. And then in our properties, there's a box called rotate. Imagine that. Rotate ActivTip, and we're going to rotate. So right now it's set to rotate freely, so it'll rotate all over the place. Now I've also gone ahead and set where it says can move, I've set it to no. So it's not going to move around, it's just going to rotate. So now under rotate, I can change these. And so I could have it rotate clockwise, counterclockwise. I could also change where it's going to rotate. Right now it's rotating on the center of the star. I could have it rotate on the top left. So it's going to rotate on the top left of that star. Or I could have it rotate to, let's say, the top right, or even just go to the top. So it's going to rotate on the top of that star. And you see that point right there is staying the same. Or finally, in the example of the clock with the hands, I'm going to have it rotate around another object. And like we do so often in Inspire, I need to select that object, which is going to be this red dot. Click on OK. And now you'll see it's actually rotating around that red dot. Now if I made that red dot hidden, the star would still rotate around it. That can be really helpful in geometry activities and a lot of other science activities, and just great ways to show things in Active Inspire. So what do you think? Do you have some creative ideas on ways to use the restrictor in your flip chart lessons? Go ahead and show us. Get on the forum and download your rotate restrictor flip charts for everyone to see. Enjoy.